Hello, folks. Wager Detective here. We are December 15th, 2025. We're going to cap this Miami Dolphins Steelers game real quick. Go over it. I hope everybody's been doing good out there. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Facebook. Follow and subscribe. You never know what Wager Detective is going to drop as far as like a lean and angle. Things pop up last second. We went 7-7 yesterday against the spread NFL, and missed a couple games by the closest of margins. A couple games that I knew maybe I should have went the other way. No, I'm not complaining, but my margin of cover report is up on Twitter, and it was plus 24. So there was money to be extracted from laddering a certain number of those plays, the ones that won. So 7-7. So we're going to get into this game. Let's take a look and see what the Dolphins have done against the Steelers. If you look at their last 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, 2-3, 3-3, 4-3, 5-3, 6-3. So the Steelers are 6-3 in their last 9 versus the Dolphins. And if you look at it, if you go, already did the math. Over that time span, the plus minus for the Steelers over the course of those games is plus 2 points per game average between their plus and minus, divided by the 9 games. So, and the average score in those games is 37.4. If we look at the December games against the Dolphins, the Steelers are 2-2 all time. And in those games, the Steelers are plus 1.75 points per game average on the point differential. And the average game of those games in December are 55.6 points a game. So it's trending over when you add all those in. When you look at road games for Mike McDaniel in December, he is 2-5. So the Dolphins are 2-5 on the road in December under McDaniels, and they're minus 4.71 points per game average between the plus minus differential over those 7 games. The average score in those games is 48.7. So under McDaniel's road, December, 7 games, 48.7 points per game. So right there off the bat, I'm not going to change on this one. I'm definitely going to look at the over, and that's not going to change. 42.5 is where the line is set, and the Dolphins are plus 3 in this matchup tonight on Monday Night Football. The only thing I didn't look at, and I'll probably post after this, is what these teams do on Monday Night Football. We knew the Steelers are in the thick of it in the playoffs. Let's take a look at what the Dolphins have done this year. We take a look at the injury report and the guys that are out. Doubtful is Elijah Campbell, defensive back, Andrew Meyer, offensive lineman. I don't think that is going to play an effect because he doesn't show him starting in any games this year. And then everybody else is pretty much a full go. So let's take a look at what the Dolphins have done this year. They are 25th in total 25th in yards. They are passing touchdowns. They have 18 of them. They're 22nd in the NFL there. They do have 14 interceptions. Tyavola, that puts them at 30th in the NFL, so they turn the ball over quite a bit. They have 11 rushing touchdowns, puts them 20th, but they don't let teams score rushing touchdowns. They've only given up 10 on the year. That puts them 9th in the NFL. Passing-wise, they're pretty stout. They're in the middle of the pack. They've given up 20 passing touchdowns. That puts them at 14th in the NFL. Average start time of the drive is the 31-yard line. That puts them at 10th in the NFL. And then their points per drive is 2.08, which is 19th in the NFL. So they're middle of the pack offense, middle of the pack defense. And we look at what they've done. They started off the year, they lost 3 in a row. And then they found a way to win 4 straight. Beat a good Buffalo team 30-13. Beat a Commanders team that looked, pretty good yesterday against the Giants. And then the Saints and the Jets the last 2 weeks. All 4 of those games, by the way, were at home. So they had a nice stretch where they were 4 games at home. And now they're going to hit the road. But if you look at their defense, I mean, they gave up 13, 13, 17, and 10. I mean, where did that... You look at where they started the season at to where they're at now. I mean, they've totally turned it around on the defensive side of the ball. Anthony Weaver's got them rocking and rolling. Notre Dame guy. And this is his second season as a defensive coordinator. So they're you look at them, the Dolphins are finding their way defensively. Now, we're not going to say the Saints and the Jets are a team to write home about, but they held the Buffalo to 13 and they held Washington to 13. That game did go to overtime and they won. Tyavola has been sacked 28 times this year. I mean, that's just brutal. He's been sacked 8 times in the last 3 games. And if we look what they've done, I mean, they're a middle of the pack team. I mean, but they're starting to turn it up. And if you look at the record, 6-7, I mean, I don't know if there's a chance they can make the playoffs. Anything's possible, but I haven't heard anything about them being eliminated. You look at the rest of their schedule. I mean, it's not like they can't win out here. 4 more games left and go 10-7, and you don't know. I'm sure it's a short margin for them to get there. And we look at what teams have done against them the last few weeks. They have given up 5 passing touchdowns in the last 4 weeks, and then rushing. Look at that. They haven't given up a rushing touchdown in the last 5 weeks. So the Dolphins are stout. Only 10 on the year and none in the last 5 weeks. That's pretty impressive. Something to keep a mind on. Tonight. Now, if we look at their stats, take a look here. Third down conversion, they're 27th in the NFL, 15th on defense. So they're not really getting third down conversions. I guess there are probably a lot of chunk plays there. And then they're 21st in the NFL, 21 for 38 in the red zone, 55%. But look at that. They're very stout in the red zone. They're 5th ranked in the NFL, only giving up 22 touchdowns and 45 red zone attempts. So very, very stout there. We look at Tyavola. He does lead the NFL in interceptions. That's what that bold lettering is there for. He's got 18 touchdown passes. His ADOT is 10.1 yards per catch, and he's been sacked 26 times. I mean, he does have one fourth quarter comeback and 1 game-winning drive. If we look at what they do, who does it on the ground, Devon Achane's got 7 touchdowns out of the 11. Ollie Gordon's chipped in with 3. And if we look at Devon Achane, he does lead the NFL in 5-point yards an attempt, which is pretty solid, right? If they could get that run game going. Receiving, mixed bag. They do have 2 guys with 4 touchdowns receiving, Darren Waller and Devon Achane. So Achane seems to be their main guy. He runs the ball for touchdowns, and he's gotten into the end zone, found the paint for 4 on the receiving end. Jalen Waddle's got 6 touchdowns as well. So from scrimmage, they do have 29 touchdowns. Kicks and punt returns, nothing really stands out here as far as that goes. Kicking, Riley Patterson. He is 23 of 25. Not bad. He's not really kicking them for 50 plus. He's only attempted 2. He's made 1. But he is a perfect 11-11 from the 40 to 49. So the guy's going to get it done. The kickoffs, 17.5% of his kickoffs are for touchbacks on 63 attempts, and he's 96% on extra points. So they got a pretty decent field goal kicker there. Jake Bailey, punter, he does have 44 punts, 48 yards a punt, not bad. 41% of his punts are landing in the 20. Defensively, who's getting it done for them? They only got 7 interceptions. I mean, that's not going to get it done. I mean, that could be a reason why. That with turnovers, right? You turn over the ball a lot and you're not getting interceptions. They do have 10 forced fumbles, but they do have 20 fumble recoveries. So they make up the lack of not getting interceptions by definitely getting some fumble recoveries there. 31 sacks is kind of poor at this stage of the season, 13 games in. Tackles for loss, 60, not bad. 64 quarterback hits. So 13 games, 64 quarterback hits. You're getting about 4 or 5 pressures on the quarterback a game, which could be helpful. But if you're not getting interceptions, that might be something they might want to look at in the draft. You want some guys back there on the back end that are getting the job done. Okay, so that's them. Let's take a look at the Vegas lines here. See what they've done this year as a dog. If you look at the last 3 weeks, they have been the favorite. They were 2-1 in those spots. But as a dog this year, they're 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2. They're 4-2 as a dog this year, which is not bad. And then if you look at their over-unders, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 games in their last 6 games, 5 have gone under and 1 has gone over. But in the beginning of the year, the first game went under, and then the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 went over. So last 5 went under, last game went over. It all leads back to like that roller coaster ride and that U-shaped movement of a game looking to probably go over here, as I have it pegged for in this game. Let's take a look at who they're going to be playing tonight. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, we know Pittsburgh is a fantastic team. They're well coached. Historically, they've only had 3 coaches all time, in the history of the game. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and then Mike Tomlin. Having another, they're 7-6, so they're not really a team that you thought maybe was going to do better with Aaron Rodgers. And they got a lot of guys out here. Andrus Peat is going to be out, offensive tackle. He's only played in 3 games this year. James Pierre, he played in 13 games this year. That's a defensive back, so it's a guy that, and T.J. Watt is going to be out. So that's something to think about. No T.J. Watt as well, a disruptor. Played in all 13 games this year. To not have him in there is going to be good. It looks like it's a lung issue there. They got some guys that are questionable. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Jalen Warren, running back, and Darnell Washington, tight end, are all questionable for this game. We get into the Pittsburgh offense, and you look at them. They're 27th in offensive yards. They're 29th in first downs. They don't move the chain. That's right into what Miami's good at. It's really what Miami's good at. If you look at touchdown passes, they do have 22, so they're 9th in the NFL there. But again, Miami can match them there as well. They can move the ball in the air. If you look at rushing touchdowns, they do have 10 on the year. That puts them at 22nd, but that is the strength of this Miami team, believe it or not, is they don't give up rushing touchdowns. They've only given up 10 all year. So they only have 80 first downs, so they're very, very stagnant compared to what Miami's number was as far as first down. I think Miami was like 127, so they do not move the chains. Having a hard time doing that. They do get good starting position. They start their drives from the 32-yard line. That puts them at 7th in the NFL. And then defensively, their special teams keep teams from starting from the 29-yard line, which puts them at 4th in the NFL. They do average 2.09 points per drive. That puts them at 17th in the NFL. Let's take a look at what they've done the last 5 weeks. They are 2-3 in their last 5. They're coming off the road win at Baltimore where they won 27-22. And if you look at defensively, they've been giving up considerably more points than what Miami's looked at. But I would say that Pittsburgh has played tougher competition. They played the Ravens, the Bills, the Bears, the Bengals, and the Chargers. We could all assume there that 3 of those teams are going to make the playoffs. And it's going to probably be the Bills, the Bears, and the Chargers. The Ravens kind of up in the air there. We look at what they do. They don't turn the ball over all that much. Let me see here. See what they do here. They have, let me see, turnovers. They do have 14 turnovers on the year. 9 of them are interceptions. Now let's see what they've done last couple weeks. They have 5 passing touchdowns in the last 5 weeks, and they have rushing. They have 5 rushing touchdowns in the last 5 weeks, and Miami hasn't given up a rushing touchdown in the last 5 weeks. So one of those things is going to give there. 22 sacks on the year for Pittsburgh quarterbacks. They've been sacked 22 times, and they are coming off the road. If we look at Pittsburgh this year at home, 0-1, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2, 4-3 at home this year. And then defensively, teams in the last 5 weeks, 1, 2, 5, 6, 7 passing touchdowns against their defense this in the last 5 weeks. And no James Pierre, a guy that started as a defensive back for Pittsburgh, is going to be out. And no J.J. Watt. So if I'm looking at this and I'm taking a peek ahead to what my prediction is going to be, I'm leaning towards Miami. I know it sounds crazy. Sacks, they do have 36 sacks on the year. That's pretty impressive, right? Pittsburgh gets to the quarterback, but with no JT Watt, that's gonna limit that, right? So you don't know how much pressure you're gonna get. And if you look at that, they did have look at this. They've had 5 games this year where they've had 5+ sacks. That's absolutely spellbinding. I mean, it's just absolutely amazing. Turnovers, Pittsburgh definitely gets turnovers. They force teams to turn the ball over 23 times. So if Miami's going to lose this game, as we said, it's going to be because they're not keeping the football. They're turning the ball over. That's going to be a major issue. So if you want to look at prop bets and you think that Miami can't win, or they can't keep this game close, or the game's not going to go over, you might want to play Tyavola to throw an interception. I mean, if I'm just looking at it. I mean, my Steelers have forced 7 turnovers in the last 5 weeks. I mean, that's pretty impressive against pretty good teams. Like I said, 5 of them are playoff teams. Take a look at the stats here for the Steelers. 16-minute mark here. We try to keep this short and sweet. We look at them. They are 13th in the NFL at converting third down, 60 for 150. That's 40%. But they are 28th in the NFL at letting up their opponents convert third downs. If we look at red zone, they are pretty efficient there. They're top 10 in the NFL, 25 of 39. That puts them at 8th. And then they're pretty stout defensively. 25 touchdowns on 48 attempts for their opponents puts them at 9th in the NFL as far as efficiency. Rodgers having a pretty decent year, 20 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, and he's been sacked 20 times. He does have a fourth quarter comeback and 2 game-winning drives. And if we look at who's getting it done, Kenneth Gainwell's got 4 on the ground. Jalen Warren's got 4. Okay, Aaron Rodgers snuck in for 1. And then receiving, they got a bunch of guys they got a bevy of guys. Look at this. Jalen Warren's got 2. DK Metcalf's got 5. Kenneth Gainwell's got 2. Olsen's got 2 touchdowns. Pat Freiermuth's got 4. Jonnu Smith's got 2. Roman Wilson's got 2. All this leads to the over to me, man. Like, I think that is my strongest play here. I mean, give me a break. Kicks and punt returns. Anything to gleam there? Look for some bold lettering. Nothing really stands out there. Kicking. Chris Boswell, one of my favorites in the NFL. He's one of my top 5, I guess you could say. Definitely top 10. He might sneak in the top 5. He is 7 for 8 from 50+. He's 8 from 9 for 40 to 49. So we can say Pittsburgh, even though Miami has got a good field goal kicker, I do think Pittsburgh has the edge there. And he's perfect from extra points, so you know what you're getting there. Corliss Waitman, the punter here, 46 punts on the year, 46.1 yards per punt. So Miami has a little bit better of a punter by a couple yards. And then he does have he only has 2 touchbacks on his punts, and 37 of his 46 punts have landed inside the 20. So that's pretty solid. That's why they're getting good field position, and that's why they're one of the better teams in the NFL at opponent's starting position as far as where they start their drives. All right, we look at this. I want to see what TJ Watt has done this year and what they're going to miss tonight. He does have 7 sacks. So out of all those sacks that they have, he does have 7 of them. Alex Highsmith has 6.5. Nick Herbig has 6.5. Tackles for loss, TJ's got 10, and he's got 18 quarterback hits. So he leads the team there. So you're missing a guy that's going to be able to put pressure. It's going to probably make it a little bit easier knowing for Tyavola that he doesn't have to worry about TJ Watt breathing down his neck there. So that is a plus for them. And if you look at Pittsburgh, they only got 11 interceptions on the year too. So they're not an interception machine, but they do have 17 fumble recoveries. So both these teams like to get fumble recoveries. They're very adept at that and high in that. Pittsburgh's definitely more adept at sacks. They got 36 on the year, 67 TFLs, and 89 quarterback hits. So they can still get pressure on the quarterback, no question about it, even if TJ's not in there. So let's take a look at the Vegas lines. Let's see what Pittsburgh has done this year. As far as a favorite, they're 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 3-1, 3-2. They're 3-3 as a favorite this year, right? That's pretty middle of the pack. And if you look at their over-unders over the last 5 weeks, it's been 3 unders and 2 overs, right? On the year, 7 over, 6 under on their games. And the last week, the line was set at 42.5, what it is tonight, and it went over. Kind of shakes me a little bit, but if they're around that number, it does seem it's in that 41 to 42 range. Over 41, 42, over. They're over that number when it gets to 41, 42.5 when the line's set. So I do like that. So listen, we capped this game. We got some pretty good tidbits here. I think if I was to look at this game, man, I mean Pittsburgh's good in the red zone. Miami's good at not letting teams move the chains. So if you're getting in the red zone like that, Pittsburgh seems to be a team that gets a lot of explosive plays to get them, because they don't move the chains on third down. So that's telling me that their efficiency inside the red zone is because they're getting a lot of like chunk plays, like they're picking up 20, 30 yards at a time, right? So I would expect that to, and all the history leans that way. Wager Detective is going to go with it. That's going to be the play tonight. Over 42. And let's take a quick look at the line, see if it's moved recently. No, it's still sitting at 42.5, standing firm. Wager Detective is going to call that here 42.5 for the over. And I'm going to say if 3 is a good number for the Dolphins. They have won 4 in a row. But remember, their last 4 games were at home, not against the kind of competition that Pittsburgh has seen. My stronger play is going to be the over. If I had to choose a side here, history is saying that Miami could stay within that number in the way they're playing. Both teams are 7-6. So it's like, you don't know what to expect. And Pittsburgh's coming off that road win. A road win now coming back home against a team that's coming off home and going on the road. It's really tough to say. I mean, those kind of situations don't necessarily lead to an over, but I'm going to go with the history and everything else that I've seen and the numbers I've looked at. Wager Detective is going to call over 42.5. And if you like the Dolphins, I would move it off that 3 and buy 1.5 and try to get that to 4.5. And let's take a look. Let's see what that number would be, just for the sake of alternate spreads here. Let's take a look. If we move it, okay. So if you move Miami to 4.5, it's only minus 142. I like that number a little bit better. 3, it's too flat of a number. I think the Dolphins could stay within that number. I would move, if anything, I would move that over under up. Let's see if you move that. I think that's Wager Detective is going to start doing that more and more. That's how you get plus money, and that's how you don't pay the vig as much as just accepting the minus. All right, total points. Let's say we move that up to 44.5, because I think it could get there. I think this is going to be like a 24-21 game. Okay, so if you move that to 44.5. You're going to get plus 122. So I like the over 42.5. This is Wager Detective, and that's my call tonight. Over 42.5, and if you like Miami, move it to 4.5. This video went a little longer than I'd like. It's 6 p.m. here from Atlantic City. Cold, blistery outside, and signing off. That's the play tonight. Miami plus 4.5, move the line, and then I like over 42.5. Move it up to 44.5 to get plus money, so it lands on plus 22. And this is Wager Detective signing off. I'll talk to you soon.